Well, good morning, my Tuesday King family. How is everybody today? I hope you are well. I am doing fine. It's refreshing to see silver back into the 60s, 62.42, and gold had its little 10 o'clock drop, but it was only $20. And now it's back to 41.70. And it's refreshing to see it above 4,000. Now, this is still very low, but at least we can see the progress made that it's going up. Today is Friday. We've had the month end on Wednesday. No, Wednesday was the first. God, it's July 3rd already. Wednesday was the first. So Monday, Tuesday was kind of like end of the month, end of the quarter. So we knew it would go down because it's what it does, because it's such an efficient process. Anyway, so now we're in the start of the month. There's no more of this drop. The Chinese are pissed and they're raising it. So we got 41.69, 41.70. Hopefully we get, I don't know if we'll get 42. And again, it's Friday, so China doesn't get to play tonight. It ends about 5:30. Again, this is paper, not real, but they're using this as pricing it. So it's a great buying opportunity. Silver, no way in hell is at 62.36. Add at least 1 0. It's at least 620. In my mind, it's every bit of 1,000. And gold 41.70 is every bit of 10,000. I was watching a video on housing, the housing market. They built a lot of like home, not homes for just two people, but homes for, families. And I'll show you that video. And everybody's getting fucked because they can't sell because the interest rates have went up so much and the prices have went up so much that if they do sell, they can't afford another house because they bought it. Let's say you bought your house at 200,000 and now it's 400,000. So you think, well, I'll sell it and make my money. But then you got to buy. So you can't buy the new house. So people aren't selling and their market's fucked. There's no market. There's no houses for sale or very few of them. And at the price they are, people can't afford them anyway. And the values are dropping. So your 200,000 was 4, but you didn't sell. Now it's back down to 2. But the interest rates have gone from the 2 or 3%. Well, whatever mortgages were, probably 3 or 4% up. I remember mine was that 2.5 or 3. 2002, I think I moved into my house. We got 2.5 or 3%. We locked it in for 30-year fix. You got to be comfortable. And so at that point, but we bought it. We paid $350 for it. So let's say it's worth $300 now, and then the interest rates are higher. So you can't really. I mean, you could always sell it. You don't have to buy a new house, or you could move to a different country or whatever. But there's definitely a big market problem where people don't want to sell because they can't afford the new house. So you ask yourself, what do you do? Now, the builders, instead of building single family homes, like mom and pop retired or the newlyweds, they built a bunch of multifamily, I guess that 3-4 bedrooms. And it's really, all I can say is the values come down because nobody's going to pay 500 grand for a house. So the sellers can't make their money, so they're not selling. But what they don't get is the market's the market. If you bought it for 2 and it was 4, now it's back to 2. That's what it's worth. That's what you got to take, because soon you won't have dollars and you're going to take gold. And so a lot of people are like, in trouble. And I'm just thinking, well, if you would have bought gold, the simple answer to all the answer to all the riddles is simply having physical gold. It won't lose its value. We can buy a house with it, a car with it soon. The money is worthless and it's driven by interest rates. The other thing is the banks are all going to collapse because they're not going to get mortgages. They're not going to get their interest rates. And then there's going to be a lot of defaults. And the bank lives on the interest from the loans they make up out of thin air. So all of a sudden, I don't have any money, but I'm going to give you a loan for $300,000 at 7%. They live off the 7%. As everybody defaults because they're losing their jobs and everything else, the banks are the ones who don't get paid. And you can't bail them out this time because there's absolutely nothing. There's no value in the dollar. So this is the thing. So I will show you the housing things. There was a video I was watching about stupidity, which I kind of showed you yesterday with Socrates and Plato, where it's based on looks and it's based on confidence. And that's it. Clem, I got to get a name for you, Clem. Happy Friday, bro. Hope you have a good holiday down with the Comex. Well, thank you. I hope you have a good holiday too. I'm not really going anywhere. I think Sunday I'll go to the Outlet Mall. It's like an hour up north and just do a little shopping and just go into a little town and just relax. Just get out, you know. But yeah, thank you very much. I can't believe it's July 3rd. I was waiting to move in here May 1st. So January was settled. I'm moving in May, and that took a while. Then April came and I had all that. And then finally May came, and then it's June, and now I just paid July's rent. So it's time does fly. So again, we want what everybody wants but doesn't know they want, which is the gold, physical gold. And they don't understand anything about the prices. They don't even understand how it works. They don't understand these are paper options, not physical. And I'm even talking, the guys who do these shows don't even understand it. They don't understand inflation is money printing. So if you collapse the dollar, the only thing left is gold and silver. All right, a Rolex is good. A Mantle card's good. They will hold their value, but the value will switch from dollars to gold. Same thing with this housing. So in every walk of life, if you have gold, you're fine. You only need the wheelbarrow for the dollars. For the dollars and the euro and the British pound, they've all collapsed. They're all worthless. They're all bankrupt. This is what you're going to need the wheelbarrow for. You're in gold and you don't need a wheelbarrow. It's as simple as that. I mean, that's it. We just got to be careful to be quiet about it. We don't want people going after our gold and stealing it and hurting us and stuff. So we got to be a little careful. I only tell people I can. I tell people at the club they don't know where I live. They don't really know my name, so nobody's going to tell them. But anyway, a little hungry this morning. So that's what we got. I'm looking at our baseball, and I can't believe the Mizorowski game wasn't over. Yesterday we lost with Meyer, who's like 10 in a row, his last 10. Again, the streaks do end. He lost. We went 4-3 yesterday. Why don't we go through that now? Just a second. So let's go to baseball. 41.72. We're having a nice little shift back up. Maybe we can get to 42 today. And that's what I've been waiting for is getting. I didn't want to sell at 4,000. I knew it would be higher. All right, let's take a look. Another hot day here. It's 84, feels like 90, and it's going to go up to 90 by 4 o'clock. And then finally, about 11 o'clock, it goes down to 77. But it's supposed to get colder tomorrow. It'll be 71 at 5 a.m. Tomorrow, it'll be 85, go down to 69. So that won't be too bad. All right, let's go through baseball yesterday. And we start Pitt 6. We won. I go over 10.5 in the game. After the Skeins game, and it always happens that way. And then, then they score 16 runs with Skeins and Wheeler, and then it's 6-1. So I lose the over, which I am just as shocked as not winning the under in the Skeins game. Cincinnati 7, Milwaukee 2. I'm under 7 with Mizorowski against the Cincinnati ace, and they score. It's crazy. They score 4 or 5 runs on Mizorowski. I mean, you just think it's fixed. It really. I mean, here's Cincinnati puts up a 4 on 4th on some guy who hits 220. Burns, 6 innings, 4 hits, 2 runs, 2 earned, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts, and he's got a 2.40 ERA. He's 10-1. The relievers come in a 4 ERA, a 2.52, and a 3.05. Shut him out. Mizorowski pitches 5 innings, gives up 5 hits, 5 runs. And 2 home runs, 10 strikeouts, and a 1.47 ERA. How does the guy give up? And crazy. How does he give up 5 runs in 5 innings? It's insanity. And the guy who hit the 3-run homer, Jay Trevino, the catcher, is hitting 232, and he got 3 hits off of him. He gets 3 hits, 3 RBIs, and I think he hit the homer off of him. I mean, how does he give up 3 hits to a 230 hitter? This is why it's crazy with these averages. So I can't believe Mizorowski gave up 5 runs in 5 innings. Their ace gave up the 2 runs, which I expected. And so since he wins 7-2, because he gives up a 3-run homer to a 230 catcher, it's really hard to understand. Not knowing, like, don't pitch him a fastball or whatever you pitched him that he hit out. You'd think you'd have known not to do that. Terrible scouting, I think. So we lose that. That was our free 3-unit play, which I would make 100 times out of 100. And we won with that. I think it was Skeins against the Cincinnati guy, and it was under, and we won. Colorado 14, Miami 4. We have Miami over 12. How about that? And it's an 18. 2 terrible pitchers. Colorado crushed them. Cleveland 6, the White Sox 5. We lose this one. We played Dean Martin, and we've got the game won like 5-2. And let's go to the bullpen. And here comes the 5 and 6 ERA guys, and Cleveland wins 6-5 with 2 runs in the bottom of the 9th. How the fuck do you lose that? What kind of manager? Again, I'm just shocked that we should have won with Dean Martin. He was in total control of the game, but for some reason we got to pull him. St. Louis 11, Atlanta 5. We don't play. We just watch. Tampa Bay 5, KC 2. Normally we like Tampa Bay, and they play low-scoring games, but we didn't play them here. Bullpen day. Texas 10, Detroit 4. We have Texas 2 units. I was good because it's hard to beat. Detroit's so unpredictable. 10-4. I mean, they just scored what 8-9 runs on Schittler, and you get 4 runs on Texas. What is that about? I don't. Yeah, it's impossible that they're gonna light up Schittler, and they just lit up Mizorowski, and somebody else lit up Scanes, and they lit up Zach Wheeler. What the fuck's going on? And then nobody, and then they get 4 runs on nobody. It's unbelievable. Seattle wins 1-0. We do have Seattle 2 units. And the Dodgers 12, San Diego 7. We have the Dodgers over 9, 2 units. So we end up with 4 winners and 3 losers. So we win 8, we lose 2, 4, 7. So we win 1 unit. And again, how the fuck do we lose? Not only how do we lose with Dean Martin, but how do we lose with Mizorowski giving up 5 runs, which he's never done all year? At home. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Now I was reading something that Don Mattingly, the Philadelphia Phillies manager, says currently landscaping out here in the Wild West listening. Oh, well, don't get too hot. Have lots of water. So Don Mattingly was asked about when they pulled Zach Wheeler. Zach Wheeler didn't go 5 innings for the first time in 3 years. And it was like he was in the 5th inning. So it wasn't over yet. And he wanted to go through 5 innings because he doesn't get the win. And his pitch count was up a little bit, but not over 100. And he got mad at Mattingly, like, what the fuck are you taking me out for? And Mattingly was like, well, we have a long season, and I don't want him to get hurt. What a bunch of bullshit that is, huh? Let me understand this. If he pitches 10 more pitches, he's going to get hurt. We know it's a long season. That's why they pitch every 5th day. What do you want him to do? Pitch every 10th day? I don't get these managers. Where does it say if he pitches 10 more pitches, he's going to get hurt? He's already pitched today, and you're not going to pitch him for 4 more days. What the fuck are you thinking? But this is the problem. And so Mattingly will get hurt because they'll start losing because with an idiot like that going, I don't want to get hurt. Oh, so you're just going to rest the whole team? I love when the announcers go, why is he still in the game? You're up 10-0. I mean, it just blows my mind how stupid these managers are. If a guy wants to stay in the 5th inning, and he's one of your aces, Sanchez is the other, he's in. You want to piss off your guy? Really? You're the manager, so whatever says goes. Oh, really? For how long are you the manager if you keep pissing off your ace pitchers? I think that's horrible. When you start worrying about not getting guys injured, you're going to get guys injured. This is professional sports. You cannot worry about it. Maybe these guys playing soccer should not worry. Maybe they shouldn't play because they might get hurt. So none of them should play. Speaking of soccer, real quickly, sidebar, it's the dumbest sport I've ever seen. I'm watching a little bit yesterday, and this Ronaldo guy, I guess he's good. and they call offsides on there was like, what kind of why is there even offsides in soccer? There shouldn't be offsides. One guy was near the goalie and he scored and they called it for offside. You're like, and then they're using all this instant replay, which I hate. If the ref doesn't see it, too bad. But they keep calling offsides. It makes no sense to me. How can you be offsides in soccer? In football, you where you snap the ball makes sense because you can't give the defense an advantage, or the offense can't line up 10 yards downfield. And, if he starts there and then they snap the ball, you can't have that. You can't have the defense in the backfield, before the snap. That makes sense, but it's right on the line of scrimmage. And in soccer, it's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. It's by far the most boring game. It's worse than hockey, where, hockey, they take a shot and it doesn't get through. He's shooting into the defenseman or hitting the goalie in the chest. And you're like, just fucking shit. And it's a very frustrating game. And soccer's even worse with these stupid offsides that don't make any sense at all. There's no advantage to it. If the guy wants to be near the goalie, let him be near the goalie. What's the problem? Or the ball has to, I don't know, I think it's the ball has to get there first, or I don't even know. I don't really care, but I'm watching it and I'm watching 4 goals get called back. You got a problem. And that's why the crowd gets so hyped when they do score, because the crowd wants to, the crowd gets so frustrated waiting for them to, to score, and he missed and it's over the net and it's blocked. And then all the fake injuries and all the fake, a guy gets hit and he lies on the ground for 10 minutes and trying to get a penalty, and he's faking. And you're like, I would just ignore it all, because if there was a rush, he'd get up and he'd go to try to score a goal. So you can lay there as much as you want. It's like football. Every time you get tackled, you're going to lay on the ground for 20 minutes because you got tackled. Believe me, the hitting in football is a lot worse than the hitting in this soccer. And if the guy wants to fake the hit, hey, see you later, buddy. We're not stopping the play for you. You didn't get hit that hard. I don't care if you did get hit that hard. It ain't happening. We're waiting, like in football, till the play's over, or you want to call a timeout or whatever you want. But I think it's the stupidest game I've ever seen. You don't know any of the players. It's just a bunch of countries. It's like the Olympics. Do we really care? Maybe we like the swish in the bobsled or something. But half of the countries you're not rooting for. You're rooting for the U.S. in the Olympics. Or sometimes I root for the Russians, for Daria. But I don't care if Germany wins or Mexico wins, or, so we're watching all these games with all these countries and we don't have a clue and we don't really give a fuck. And then how do all these countries in Europe and South America are broke? And yet all these people were able to fly here, get visas, and then pay big tickets for the hotel, the food, and the game. I'm sure the tickets for the game are expensive. Where are these people getting this money? Or all these people are millionaires? I kind of doubt that. So it's just things I think about. All right. Back to baseball. We are at 7-3. And tomorrow is actually July 4th. Who'd have thunk it? All right, we start with 4 o'clock, so we got plenty of time. St. Louis at the Cubbies. Cubs are 121, 10.5. Valentine 384, Peterson 712. And I noticed the Cubs are on another 5-game winning streak. I started looking at streaks again. But it really didn't affect us. All right, Palentine 384. I like looking at the pitcher streaks, I think, more than the team streaks. Maybe you keep them both. Oh, Palentine. He's won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's 6-1 last 7. I gotta put this on a spreadsheet because like now I could just look for St. Louis and Palentine. Oh, here he is. 6-0. He's now 6-1. And let's look at the over-under. 3 overs and then 3 unders. So that doesn't help us. His last 6, 3 innings, 4 runs, then 5 innings, 1 run, 6 innings, 2 runs, 7 innings, 2 runs, 6 innings, 1 run, and then, hey, Titus. This isn't a members only, is it? Or are you members only? I'm confused, Titus. Do I have it on as members only? I don't think I do. Maybe there's. Anyway, happy 4th and hope you're well. We have started looking at pro and college football. Right now, we're just looking at baseball. So 3 innings, 4, and then he's 1 run, 2 runs, 2 1 run, and then 6 innings, 5 runs. And it's just, I don't know that we can. I think we have to back up, and I don't think the consistency where. Good morning, Titus. I don't think we can get the consistency where the pitcher's going to throw 1 run, 2 runs, and that's it. They're going to have 5, 6 run games. The problem is against whom? Here he lost to Miami 5-1. But in his 1, 2, 3, 4, he beats Arizona, San Diego, the Mets, and Texas. And then he even beat the Cubs in Cincy. Even on the 4-run game, he did beat the Cubs 6-5. So we lost last time to Miami. So we don't know over under. So his ERA 3.84 is about right. Peterson really sucks. Was on the Mets and they traded him. So it's funny, he actually played the Mets and lost 6-2. Played the Mets twice. Oh, maybe he's been on the Cubs for a while. Yeah, maybe he's been on the Cubs the whole year because I see him against the Mets quite a bit. Let's see. He's no streak on wins and losses. Quite a few overs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of 6 overs. And look at his last 6. 5 innings, 6 runs, 4 innings, 0, 3 innings, 6, 3 innings, 3, 4 innings, 5, 5 innings, 2. So he's had a couple of 6-run games and a 5-run game. Yeah, this guy kind of blows. Palentine, I don't know. Cubs have been pretty hot. It's in St. Louis, Chicago. The over-under is 10.5, so the wind must be blowing out. But I don't really like the pitchers. Pitt and Washington. Washington 143, 9.5. Keller 488 for Pitt. Griffin 294 for Washington. We know Pitt hits. Keller nothing. He's got 4 out of 5 overs in his last 6 games. 4 innings, 7 runs, 4 innings, 6 runs, 4 innings, 5 runs, 5 innings, 5. This guy blows. All right, so Keller really blows. 4.88 ERA is about what he does every game. And then Griffin 294. Let's take a look at this guy. Is he real? Foster Griffin from Orlando. He's won 7. He's 7-1. What the fuck teams? Yeah, Washington. He's 7-1, and he was 4 over and then 2. Let's take a look. 2, 4, 6. 5 innings, 3 runs, 5 innings, 1 run, 6 innings, 1 run, 6 innings, 1 run, 7 innings, 1 run, 7 innings, 1 run. Well, speaking of the devil, that's exactly who we're looking for. So let's go with Washington as your free play, because I don't think I'm going to find a better matchup. If this guy gives up more than 1 run today, Griffin, Washington, and we'll go 3 units. We'll just go Washington to win. They should hit Keller, and they should hit Keller, and then they're not going to hit this Griffin guy. Where the hell did he come from? Anyway, here you go. Take Washington. Don't fuck with the over-under. Minnesota goes to the Yankees. Yankees 181 and total of 10. Paredes with the 4 ERA for Minnesota, and Gary Cole with the 4.14. Now here's the problem I'm kind of working through is like Scanes. We know he's a great pitcher. Yeah, won the Cy Young for the Nationals last year, but we're still kind of thinking he's still the Cy Young pitcher, but he's not. He's lost 8 in a row. Well, the Pirates have lost the last 8 times he's pitched, not him. And normally he gives up 2 runs, except for this game against the Phillies where he gave up 5 or 6 runs. And you've got to get past that. You've got to look at like this Griffiths guy, this Griffin on Washington, and that's where you focus. The guy in Cincinnati, whatever the fuck his name is, Burns. So you got to look at Burns and Griffin, and you got to get away from Scanes because we're looking at last year. Mizorowski's this year, and so is his guy Harrison. Those are this year guys, so we're fine with that. It's what do you do with the Scanes or Skubal? Skubal's got like a 4 ERA now. It's not the same pitcher. You can't go, well, last year he did this, but we're not at last year. We're at this year. So you really have to focus on what they're doing this year. And I do it in football very, very well. I don't look at that's why I look at this year's stats. That's why we always win. We catch the flavor of the month, whoever that is. Oh, it was the Bears last year. Oh, Denver, Houston under. We get away from these other teams. We didn't play KC when Mahomes hurt. We did before, and then he gets hurt, and we're off KC. And so that's what you got to do with these pitchers. You can't look at like Garrett Cole from last year or 2 years ago. You got to look at him now, and he's got a 4.14 ERA. And that's where the hard part is. Well, we bet on, we bet on Montana, but he's having a bad year or he's injured. Like these guys get injured. It's a long season. And so we have to be careful. We have to look at what's happening. Now, I would bet my house on Mizorowski next time he pitches because he's going to be pissed off. And so will does Zach Wheeler. Believe me, he's going 5 innings. But that's the difference. See, the managers are worried about the health, and the good pitchers are worried about winning. Like when Zach Wheeler did that, he wants to win the game. He wants to go 5 innings, get his win. He doesn't want to get pulled for a pitch count. And that pitch count is going to kill more managers because, it was 90 pitches. I had to take them out. And you're like, yeah, but then you brought in a pig with a 5 ERA in the bullpen and you lost the game. The object you're managing is to win the game, not lose the game. All right, so let's look at Paredes against Cole, both with 4 ERAs. Do we go over? Do we go not over? How are they doing? Paredes just came back, so he's played in 6 games, 4 overs, 2 unders, 3 innings, two runs, 3 innings, 3 runs, 3 innings, 1 run, 4 innings, 2 runs, 5 innings, 2 runs, 5 innings, 3 runs. So doesn't give up, but you got to look at it. In 3 2/3, he gives up 3 runs. Well, that's only so that's really a 9 ERA, not a 3, because he did it in 3 innings. So you can't get impressed with the runs. It's not like he's throwing 7, 8 innings and he's giving up 2 runs. In 3 innings, giving up 2 runs is not good. So he's pretty much a pig, this Paredes. This is his first year, 4.26 ERA. He basically blows. And then we got Garrett Cole, who was injured, came back. Now he's pitched in 7 games since May 22nd. Win some, lose some overs, some unders. Well, he's had 5 unders, 2 overs. Last year he had a 3.41 ERA, 2023 a 2.63, a 3.50, a 3.23, a 2.84. He goes all the way back to 2.13 when he was out in Pittsburgh. So pretty much a 3 ERA pitcher for his career. Last 6, well, I'll go last 7. 6 innings shutout, 6 innings shutout, 5 innings, 4 runs, but 4 innings, 2 runs, 6 innings, 2 runs. But then the last 2 have been 4 innings, 5 runs, and 5 innings, 4 runs. So, 3 out of his last 5, he's given up 4 runs in 5 innings. And he goes about 90 pitches. So I think he's probably not in shape. I think his 4 ERA is probably good. Paredes. So now this leads to, are we getting an over here? Because both these pitchers kind of suck. And the key variable that we must understand is the bullpen. Who are they bringing out of the bullpen? It's almost like you have to track the game, and then you have to track the bullpen. Oh, he pitched his good pitchers. They won't pitch today, so they got the bullshit bullpen pitchers going. And that's really the hard part. We can't just look at Cole and Paredes going, well, this will be high scoring. It depends on who the bullpen is. And I go into the box scores, and it's crazy. 5 pitchers, and they didn't allow a run. And you look at the ERAs, 3.8, 4, 4.5. How the fuck are they not giving up a run? This is crazy. Then you go to another game, and the game you need the under on, and they give up, like the White Sox yesterday. We didn't need the under, but we needed them to win. We bet Dean Martin, and it's like 6-2 or 5-2, and they lose 6-5. In the bottom of the 9th, they give up 2 runs. And it's like, this is insane. And the guy had a 2.5, 3 ERA. He wasn't terrible. But then you'll look at a game, nobody gets a run on the bullpen. And then on the other games, they give up 6, 7 runs in the bullpen. And that's where this is getting a lot of variable change in the manager with his head up his ass, doesn't know what to do. The White Sox, if they played to win instead of playing that, would have pitched Dean Martin through the 7th inning, then gone to the one guy bullpen and the next guy. If they're not hitting your pitcher, why are you taking them out? And I go back to Sunday night, the Boston with Sonny Gray against the Yankees. You shut him out, no hit him through into the middle of the 8th inning. He gives up a single to center, and you pull him. And then you should have lost the game, but you got a miracle and won the game in the 10th. What are you doing? Why are you taking him out? He's given up 1 hit. They can't hit him. That's what you want. He's better than anybody you're going to pull in the relief. He's already pitched 8 innings. So, you don't get him for 5 days. What are you doing? He owns the Yankees. What are you thinking? You're getting him out for what? The guy you relieved him with sucked. He gave up 2 runs, and it's a 2-2 game going into the 10th inning, where if you just keep him in there, he probably goes all 9 and you win 2-0. What the fuck are you thinking? Anyway, do we go over in this game? This is a curious one. I don't know. The Yankees don't strike me as a big hitting team. So, again, if this was a football bet and the Yankees are laying 3, I take Minnesota in 9. Yeah, they're not going to get blown out. But I can't tease this, so I can't take 10 down to 4 and do a 6-point teaser and go, okay, we'll go over 4. I can't do that. Although that would be interesting in baseball. So I got to leave it alone. The White Sox in Cleveland. Cleveland 125, 8.5. K 4.56 against Gus Williams. Cleveland 3.83. Take a look at it. Let's see. K wins some. He had a big streak and then one loss. Loss, win, loss, win, loss. And but K's gone over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in a row. Okay. Now that's a streak we can go with. His last 6, 5 innings, 1 run, 4 innings, 6, 5 innings, 2, 4 innings, 4, 6 innings shutout, 3 innings, 2, 6 innings shutout, and it ended up 6-5. Even though he shut out Cleveland on 3 hits in 6 innings. After throwing 101 pitches, the genius manager pulls them. They do win 6-5. Just amazing. So that's what you're dealing with is a bunch of what we call idiots managing. Gus Williams for Cleveland. The Wizard. He's 1, 2, 3, 4. Won 4 games, lost 3, won 1 more. And he's over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So we got a battle of the overs going here. And the total is only 8.5. Baltimore, Cincinnati. Baltimore minus 117, 10.5. A lot of overs today. Trevor Rogers, 5.01 ERA against Brady Singer, 5.14. And I know I got something on Brady Singer. Yeah, there he is. He's 1-8. I have. Let's look at Trevor Rogers. He lost 5 in a row, lost 2 more, but then won 2 in a row. Over, under, either way. His last 6 innings, 4 runs, 5 innings, 1, 5 innings, 3, 6 innings, 2, 7 innings, shutout, 6 innings, 1 run. So he's only had a 6.844, and since then he's been 1.3201. So he's definitely bounced back. And Brady Singer, our man Brady. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. He's 1-9. His last 10. Music to my ears. Just what we're looking for. A guy that can't win with a 5.14 ERA. Now, I'm not going to fuck with the total's 10.5. I'm not fucking with that. There's no reason to. It's just take Baltimore. I mean, we're not even doing that. We're going against Brady Singer. We do it in football all the time where we bet against the Z team. And we make sure we have a pretty good offense going against the Z team and we clean up. And it's the same thing here. This Brady Singer stinks. Rogers looks pretty good. And you're really betting against Brady Singer here. Any way you want to make money, that's how we're doing it. Atlanta, 107-9. We got Charlie Scott, 3.20 for the Mets, and Grant Holmes, 4.19 for Atlanta. Let's see who your daddy is. Christian Scott. And Christian is he's 6-1. See, eventually every pitcher comes on here because I mean, look at my sheet, right? It started with 5 or 6 because eventually they get on a streak, and that's what we're waiting for. Only with pitching, it's a lot more fun than the teams. So he's 6-1, and his total under push, under over, under. So he's pretty much an under guy. And 2, 4, 6, 4 innings, 3 runs, 5 innings shutout, 5 innings, 1, 3, 5 innings shutout, 4 innings, 4. So the problem is he's a 4-inning guy, and he goes 90 pitches in 4 innings. He does seem to get a lot of walks. And Grant Holmes. So this is the Mets in Atlanta. That was the guy in the Mets. This is, so it's 4-inning guy. Let's see. Grant Holmes has lost his last 4. And he had 3 overs and now 3 unders. So that's a wash. And his last 6, 4 innings, 3 runs, 6 innings, 2 runs, 3 innings, 3 runs, 2 innings, 3 runs, 4 innings, 1 run, 4 innings, 0. So not the greatest at the Mets. You're getting the guy with the 1 run or the guy with the 3, and it's scrambled eggs. The Niners against Colorado. Colorado put up like 20 runs yesterday. Fortunately, I didn't have them. All right, let's see. What do we do here? The Niners minus 142 and 11. Logan Webb against Feltner. Logan Webb, pretty bad. And Feltner, we'll take a look. Logan Webb, the Loganer, LW. Where's your pitching logs? All right, he had lost 4 in a row, then he won, then he lost, then he won, then he lost, then he won. He's under the last 5. And his last 5 is 7 innings, shutout, 8 innings, 1 run, 8 innings, 1 run, 8 innings, 2 runs, 7. So this guy's a dude. He gave up 6 runs like 7 games ago to San Diego. And then since that, it's 1 run in 4 innings, and then 7 and 8 innings, 0-0. So this guy's pitching really well. They're not necessarily winning, but they're losing like 2-1. But his unders are 5 unders in a row. And so this, from the Niners standpoint, it's an under. The total is 11. And let's see what Feltner is. He's got a 4.42 ERA. And win some, lose some. He's under his last 3. And his last 6 are 6 innings shutout, 6 innings 1, 4 innings 6, 4 innings 2, 6 innings 2. This, to me, my friends, is the song that never ends. Is definitely an under game. Both pitchers just very good. So we're going to take the Niners under 11. This is a prime example. By looking at the last 5, you see Webb's hasn't given up more than 1 run in his last 5 games. And he's got a 3 ERA, and Feltner is the same. The last 3 have been under. You got a pretty decent pitching, and yet the total on the game is 11 because it's in Colorado. And there ain't no way this is getting to 11 unless they fuck around and do what Mizorowski and Skanes did, which is a 16. Was that real, or were we like in a fantasy world? Or Skanes against Zach Wheeler, and it's a 16-run game. There's no way in hell they don't pitch a 3-1 game. 16 runs. I still can't believe that. All right. This is why we can't go 100%. Even though we make the proper pick, looking at the proper pitchers, You just that's why I get frustrated when I have a losing couple of games in football, and they look at me like, "Well, you're supposed to pick them all right," and I go, "I can't. It's impossible." All right. Tampa Bay, Houston. Oh, a very lovely game here. We got Houston 105, 8.5. Nick Martinez with the 208 ERA goes against Spencer Spaghetti with the 4 ERA, who's Houston's ace, or at least he was. Total on the game's 8.5. I'm smelling an under, but let's see. Nick Martinez. Win some, lose some. He's 3-2 his last 5. His last 4 have been under, so I did smell right. His last 5, 4 innings, 6 runs, 7 innings, 3, 5 innings, 3, 6 innings, 3, 5 innings, 1. But yet, it was 6-1, 4-3, 4-3, 4-3. So I guarantee this will be a 7, and his totals have been 8.5 and 9. He had an over with Detroit 7-2, over 8.5. So his last 4 have been all scored 7. So what's the total on the game? 8.5. We're going under. Man, let's see what Arrighetti does for Houston. He's win some, lose some, or at least he's lost his last 3. So he won 5 in a row, and now he's lost 3 in a row. And that's what the streak tells you. Get the fuck away. He's not going to win. He's lost his last 3. He had 2 unders and 2 overs. And before that, he had 4 unders. So he's 6-2 with his unders. The over was Pittsburgh beat him 11-9, and Cleveland 8-1, where he's 8.5. His last 5, 4 innings, 4 runs, 6 innings, 3, 6 innings, 4, 6 innings, 6, and 3 innings, 8. He's falling apart, and yet we're still getting unders. Yeah, his 4 ERA is like a 6 ERA. It's an under because of Martinez, but I also think that Tampa's the play here. So this is a double play. The game under is good. Martinez is good. And you just go with the flow. What's the difference if I make it in the same bet? It's not a teaser. Boston against California. California 107, 7.5. Detmer has been pitching very good for California. Bennett for Washington. I don't know. Colonel Bennett, Jake Bennett from Commando. Pitched in 6 games, lost 4, and 4 of them have been under. Look at the 6, 5 innings, 1 run, 5 innings, 4, 5 innings, 4, 5 innings, 2, 6 innings, 0, 6 innings, 1. So he's been under his last 3. And Detmers, I think, is very good. He's 6-1 his last 7. I do believe I have him on the page. Detmers. How do I not have this guy? I thought I did. So he's 6-1. The totals, a couple over, a couple under, a little more unders. And we've got last 6, 5 innings, 3 runs, 6 innings, 0, 7 innings, 1, 7 innings shutout, 6 innings, 5, 5. So he had that one bad game in there. But he's won 4 in a row. He'll probably give you good. I don't know about the under in the game. We'll get back to that. Miami, now they are traveling East Coast, West Coast, I believe, or maybe they were already en route at the last series. All right. Miami and Oakland. Oakland minus 134, 10.5. Again, now this is a little league field, so that's why you get a lot of runs in Oakland. T. Phillips, 4.35 for Miami, and Perkins, 6.65 for Oakland. I can see why they think it's an over. Tyler Phillips, he's 1-5 his last 6. He's 5-1 under his last 7. One was a push. Last 6, 5 innings, 3 runs, 4 innings, 3 runs, 5 innings shutout, 4 innings, 8 runs, 6 innings, 2, 7. So probably this will be low scoring for Phillips. Perkins, he's 1-4. No, he's 1-5 his last 6. He's a little more overs than unders. But he's 2 over, 3 under his last 5 innings pitched. 4 innings, 5 runs, 4 innings, 3 runs, 5 innings, 3 runs, 5 innings, 4 runs, 5 innings, 2 runs. So he doesn't go more than 5. Like I said, he's lost 5 out of his last 6, and he was over. He played got a total of 14.5, and the score was 4-3. 10.5 over, 9.5 over, and then 8.5, which was under. All right, so probably loses. I got to look at this Phillips again. I'm looking at 8 things at the same time. He's lost 5 out of 6, so both these guys lose. All right. Milwaukee and Arizona. My man Harrison. Milwaukee 145-9. Harrison, the other stud from Milwaukee, 2.57 ERA. Cabrera 3.60 for Arizona. Harrison, I had. He's won his last 10. No, he was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. He's 8-2. So he lost to the Cubbies in Atlanta. Few overs, few unders. Last 6 runs shutout, or 6 innings shutout, 5 innings, 1 run, 2 innings, 8 runs against Oakland. 6 innings shutout, 6 innings, 2 runs, 5 innings, 2 runs. So even though he's doing it 90, 80 pitches, he's not pitching as much as he should. They lost 8-2 here's a shutout. Did they win? Yeah, he shut out Phillies 4-0. And against Atlanta, he goes 6 innings, gives up 2 runs. They lose 4-3. And then he goes 5 innings, gives up 2 runs. They lose 8-2. So the relievers kind of suck here for Milwaukee, I guess. So he was hot. He had 1, 2, 4, 6, 8 in a row. And now he's lost 2 in a row. And the over-unders are all over the place. And he's been pretty good. That was it. In 10 games, he had an 8-run game to Oakland, and that everything else has been 2 runs. So possibly an under or possibly Harrison. Let's see what Cabrera for Arizona is. And we don't have anything. He's pitched in 2 games, got a 3.60 ERA. They lost both games 4-2. Both games were under. 5 innings shutout, 5 innings, 4 runs. But again, it doesn't give us any. He's only pitched in 2 games. This guy's from Dominican Republic. All right. San Diego goes to the Dodgers. I thought Shotani pitched yesterday. What the fuck? Maybe it was a call. Well, he's pitching today, supposedly. We got the Dodgers minus 230 with an 8 total against San Diego. King for San Diego, 3.56. Ohtani is now a 1.59 ERA. Was a 0.7. He's giving up 2-3 runs a game now. Michael King. Yeah, he's 2-5 his last 7. 4 out of 5 under. His last 6 innings, 5 runs, 6 innings, 4 runs, 6 innings, 3 runs, 4 innings, 3 runs. Then he has a shutout, a 7-inning shutout, and 4 innings, 4 runs. The shutout was against Atlanta, 1-0. Pitches a lot of under games. Ohtani. Oh, I can't get game. They don't give me game logs on it. They give me his hitting. They don't give me his pitching. It's really frustrating. So his last, let's see, 1-1, 2-1, 3-1, 4-1. He's 5-1 his last 6. They won 12-7 against San Diego last week. And he's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's 5-2 over his last 7. But then I don't get his pitching logs. They give me his hitting. I don't want his hitting. I want his pitching. But we can see they've been high scoring. 9-4, 9-3, 7-1, 12-7. They do score. A game against Minnesota way back was 2-1. Outside of that, these are mostly overs. Total here is 8. I don't know. The problem with San Diego, they got Bogaerts and they got the other guy from Boston, the shortstop, and Bogaerts. And they're both hitting like 220. So you got 300 hitters, but they're not hitting 300. What do you do with that, right? Just like on the Mets, Bo Bichette, 300 hitters hitting 219. So what are you supposed to do? You know he's a 300 hitter. But that was hitting behind Guerrero, and now he's, it's like Mantle and Maris. Maris was hitting 3, Mantle 4, and he hit 61 home runs. Then he goes to St. Louis, and he doesn't have Mantle hitting behind him, and he never gets close to 61 homers. So when you're hitting in front of Mantle, you're going to get a lot of fastballs because you don't want to walk Maris to get to Mantle. Then you're giving up 2 runs. I don't know here. A total of 8. I'm not sure this is an under because Ohtani gives up and they score a lot. It tends to be more high-scoring games. I'm going to take a pass on it. I'm not taking Ohtani, but I can't really get the logs on him. So look at the Dodgers, 57-31, and San Diego 43-20. This is not the game to bet. In our last game, Toronto goes to Seattle. Oh, we got my man Dylan Cease going tonight. Toronto minus 125. They're the favorite. 7. We got Dylan Cease against Castillo. Dylan's a dude. Make a lot of money on Dylan. He's 3-3 his last 6, so we don't care. Over, under. 4 unders, 3 overs, nothing. His last 6, 5 innings, 5 runs, 4 innings, 2, 6 innings, 1, 5 innings, 0, 5 innings, 2, and then 4 innings, 4. So, for the most part, it was 0-1-5, 2-1-0-2, and then a 4. So once in a while he has a bad outing. Normally pretty good. Now they had to fly from Toronto, so they're going to be jet lagged in Seattle. With the The socialist mayor is crying because the guy from Starbucks just moved Starbucks out of there because of the taxes. How do we elect socialist mayors in a fucking capitalist country? You're not happy with your lifestyle here. It's all nice. We got air conditioning. We got cars. You got money. Yeah, we don't want that though. Let's go socialist. Unbelievable. So Castillo lost 3 in a row and then won. He's 3 over, 2 under. So a lot of win some, lose some. Last 6, 4 innings shutout, 5 innings 2, 5 innings 1, 5 innings 5, 4 innings 5, 6 innings 1. Pretty inconsistent. Just looking at the ERAs, we might get over 7, but I'm not going to bet Dylan Cease over. That's a tough one. But we'll make our selection. All right, your free play, Washington, 3 units to win over Pittsburgh. Griffin is red hot, and this color is not very good. Pittsburgh will hit. They do. No question they'll hit. The total on the game's 9.5, but this Griffin's really good. And he's 7-1 his last 8. So we're gonna stick with Griffin. It's funny, Pitt hits except for when Skeens is going. You think they could get him a win? They can't get him a win. All right, so that's baseball today. Free pick, Washington, 3 units. And I'll give you one lock, Washington, the White Sox over 5 units. $25 on Teaser King if you want to buy. For the week. So let's say I made it $100 a week. Would I get more buyers than at 25 because they would think the quality is better? He must be good. He can charge 100. Just food for thought. I thought I'd get more guys there. All right. So we are going to. So we're going to look at home prices falling.
For duration, I think it's going to be worse.
I don't know who this is. We're just going what she's reading, her data. And we're using this. So
I think we're going to play that story out. Had the institutionals not come in at the request of the agencies to buy up all those single family homes, prices would have gone even down further. So I've been doing this for a little while, and what I've noticed about all the guys that have the really pretty charts and their certain analysis is, well, firstly, they're usually just don't get the story. But secondly, this is simple. It's not that complicated. And what do I mean by this? The median income in the United States is about $84,000, $85,000. The median home price should be 3 times that, period. That's it. And so so anybody who wants to know where home prices will likely be after this, barring the UFOs needing homes, and so you the supply demand, is just take the local median income, which you can get off of ACS Quick Facts, and times it by 3. And that's likely where your median home price is going to go.
Based on what? She's bitching at guys for doing charts, and so do I, because you don't have enough variables. But I got to question what she just said. The median income's $85,000. So it should be so call it 90,000. So the medium home should be 270. That's bullshit. It's based on the market. How many people are buying or selling a house? How many people can? Depends on the neighborhood, the state, the city, the location. So that's just bullshit what you just said. She's not understanding the money's worthless. When I heard that, I got all excited going, she's saying the prices are dropping, and I'm all excited going, hey, maybe 1 ounce of gold will buy it'll be 2, but maybe we can get away with 1 1/4 or something. But the prices are falling because of no demand. It's economics. It's Austrian economics. It's if nobody can afford the house, they don't buy it. Price drops. There's no such thing as deflation. People want to name inflation prices going up, deflation prices going out. That's Keynesians. Do you ever hear me say that? Never. I never will. Prices are prices. If there's no demand, the price falls. It's not called deflation. If the price goes up because of demand, that's not inflation. That's demand. It's the market going up. Maybe it's supply. Maybe it's demand for gold, supply for oil. There's many reasons prices go up. So let's listen a little bit more. I don't know who this is, so I'm not
getting ready to work on some of the outlets in your home. There's actually a really cool tool that
shut the
helps you
fuck up.
find
Nobody invited you.
Hey everyone, my name is Anthony Fancies and welcome to another episode of the What the Finance podcast. On this podcast, I have the pleasure of welcoming for the first time Melody Wright. So Melody, thanks so much for coming on the podcast.
Oh, thank you so much. It's my pleasure. Thank you for the invite.
No problem. Looking forward to another. I've been a big fan of your work, so I'm excited to be able to speak to you now. But for anyone who hasn't, I guess, heard your perspective or your expertise and what you're sort of analysing, on the housing market, can you please run us through your current thoughts? I guess your groundwork approach, and where you think it's.
Yeah. So I have a long history in in this industry. I started back during 2006 at the exact wrong moment, or maybe the right moment for just kind of learning because we were in such an emergency situation. I got an education you don't usually get. I mean, to be working at a company when the credit cycle crashes like that is a real education. And so anyway, fast forward to around 2021, I started seeing, what was going on in the housing market. Not only were refinances going up, but home purchases. And, and home prices were just going up at a pace that made absolutely no sense. I seem to be the only one in the industry that remembered what happened the last time that happened. And I started reading about, I joined social media. I had left corporate at that time. I was working in fintech. And I started reading the media's take on the housing market, and they were just getting so much wrong. And there were so many parts of the story they were missing. And, my going out thesis was that mortgage would probably be fine. I've changed my mind on that, but the industry had done a lot of, I call it gospel singing about credit quality. But, when the excitement hits, there's always a way to get around it. So at one of those fintechs, somebody said, please, let me know when rates are going to rise. And so I kind of have a background in studying, macroeconomics. So I jumped back in and, as I said, realized that no one was getting it right. So by 2020.
So she's a Keynesian because she just said macroeconomics. Macroeconomics is Keynesian. We do microeconomics, right? And we focus on the market. She's a Keynesian. She said she had to understand 2006, the housing crisis, which we knew in 1997 when Clinton said anybody can get it. And you're giving houses away to people who shouldn't have gotten. They had no credit or no job. And she just figured it out in 2006. So she got her education there. So I'm really questioning this girl knows anything.
I was so annoyed with the way Bloomberg was reporting on it. I decided to go out there because what we were starting to hear is about overbuilding. Meanwhile, every headline you were reading was about an inventory shortage. So since 23, I have traveled over 10,000 miles, probably way over. I need to start calculating it, go back and do that to hundreds and hundreds, if not 1,000 plus new build sites, as well as just hearing, existing inventory all across the country. And, what I came back is that for whatever reason, and there's a million of them, we did not have the correct data, and everybody was missing this story. And we have overbuilt, we're oversupplied, and this is in the face of our aging demographics. So I'll stop there. That's kind of background to see where you want to pull on something.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for running us through that. So yeah, really interesting. So you're saying when you say sort of extremely high inventories, is that all over the country? Is that in certain regions? And I guess then what does that mean for supply demand dynamic and housing prices overall?
So everyone loves to say all real estate is local, and that's absolutely true. I track 86 markets every week on inventory, and then monthly sales, etc. So every region has a little bit different spin on the story. Kind of the West, the Sun Belt, they really went nuts on the building. And so that is a new construction story, a lot of it. And, they were the ones adding population while and certain parts of the West were not adding population, which was California. And you are seeing that in a very slow moving train wreck that is happening right there in places like San Diego, Los Angeles, because you had so many people, for instance, in San Diego, buy up Airbnb rentals. They can't cash flow in those anymore. So that I'm trying to just give like specifics on each market's going to have a different theme. But then the Northeast, everybody likes to say they didn't do any building. That's not true. Like anywhere there was infill or there was a site that they could build on, they did. And often that was actually multifamily instead of single family homes. But this is also where we have the most aging demographics. This is also where we have very aggressive tax policies. Like in Boston right now, they are dealing with now 2 years in a row, a double-digit property tax increase because Boston lost so much revenue from all that empty commercial estate. So they had to, and this is happening not just in Boston, it's other places too. So in the Northeast,
You can only do that if what the market will bear. You can't raise property taxes. Everybody will move out. You just saw that in Seattle, the billionaire, the guy who does Starbucks, who is the owner, moved to Florida because of the tax increases. So Boston can't just raise property taxes. So what she's trying to say, but doesn't know how to say it, is there's many markets. And we get that. We get that in paintings a lot. There could be markets for Picasso or Van Gogh. We know there's a lot of markets for the Montana rookie card. It doesn't go for 110 in every auction. Sometimes it's 90, sometimes 125. Roughly about 110 is what you should aim for. Gold, we have the gold price, but we have many different. The store I go to will give you 96% for an Eagle and 92% for Cougar and Maple Leaf. The other store I went to is 94% for everything. And the Ann Arbor store is 98% for everything. So there's 3 different markets to sell your gold. So there's multiple markets. In the housing market, there's many different factors. There's many different variables. That's why you look at a micro look and not a macro look. Macro looks never tell you the truth. So she's getting into these but she doesn't even know that's what she's doing. So Boston, look at New York now. They did rent control. People are flooding out. So how's that going to work on your analysis? We do rent control. We do this grocery store for free. I heard, I was watching something with the grocery stores in New York. 30 of them closed because of this new thing. Well, where are people eating? So people aren't stupid. If you want to put this free grocery store in, I can't compete with free, so I'm moving out. So that's the thing. If I like Polo wants to charge. So Polo wants to charge $100 for this when I go up north tomorrow or Sunday. I think Sunday. I'll go to whatchamacallit. I'll just go to Brooks Brothers, Tommy Hilfiger, or Catalina, or what's my sailboat. I'll go to those stores. They can't that's how you compete with an expensive Polo store. I'm surprised Polo's still in business. I'll see if their prices are better. The last couple of times I went up there, their prices were ridiculous for an outlet mall. You're missing the whole customer, who your customer is, right? So that's what she has to understand. There's different markets caused by different, it's usually taxes. You raise taxes, you chase everybody away. You raise cost, you chase everybody away. And I say that with steaks. That's the point I'm trying to drive home. They want to charge $20 for a New York strip. Fuck off. I'm not going to pay for it. Oh, you have sirloin steaks for $13. I'll buy that. I am not paying $20 for a steak. And there's competition. And if I have to, I'll go buy 2 pounds of hamburger or go get chicken or salmon. I mean, it's, even their salmon's like $20 and I go to the butcher. Good luck. You'll be throwing those out. Nobody's paying $20 for salmon. It's ridiculous. Okay, there is a little bit different because you're actually in a boat trying to catch it and you're going to have higher fuel costs, but I'm not paying for it. That's too bad. I don't need salmon that much. Now, you put it at $10, $12, I will buy a pound, but not at what you're selling it for. So anyway, she really doesn't catch. It's always about cost. So if you want to add cost by adding property taxes or a higher interest rate, of course, demand goes down. So let's see.
You have these really abysmal demographics. You also have the situation where there's very low owner occupancy because take somewhere like New York City, it's a lot of apartments or people are investing there. And so most of the people that own the homes and the second and third homes are the boomers. And they're aging out, and they are, not able to cash flow. We just saw in New York, they did a rent freeze on the rent stabilized, and already you had a huge issue there with people keeping, some say 50,000, some say more, apartments off market because of a 2019 rule that they could not increase rent, and they don't have the money to bring those apartments up to code. So every region has a story. The Midwest story is about the data center speculation, and that's part of the story in the South as well. But in the Midwest, everybody, when they heard Intel was going to be built, in Ohio, when they heard all these data centers, they went and they built around those markets. There's 25,000 construction workers on site at the New Albany data center technology park right now, which is insane to think about. So people went to the Midwest, and if they didn't build, they bought up every empty little home because at that point, these were the cheapest home prices in the country. And what most people just cannot fathom until you've been out there is the amount of speculation that occurred. And so the Midwest is coming off that speculation. Both the Midwest and the Northeast are starting to see inventory build. They're also the ones with year-over-year sales declines. The Northeast and existing homes down 7%, the Midwest down 2.2% year-over-year. So you're seeing in those regions what we've seen in the South and the West. Like once inventory gets to a certain level, you're seeing price kind of moderate. It's floating a little bit, but soon it will start going in the opposite direction. And it's just
that's totally supply and demand. She doesn't understand that. If there's 1,000 people wanting a house and you got 5,000 houses, the price will go down because they don't have to. If there's a shortage, like in oil, the price would go up because there's only 500 houses and 1,000 people are negotiating for them. So that drives the price up, which is what we do with our gold and silver. There's 100 people wanting 50 ounces of gold, or in our case, there's 1 billion people wanting the 200,000 tons of gold, of which 190 is already taken up by China, Russia, and the rest. And so that's what I'm trying to point to is the demand for the gold is so high and the supply just isn't in there. The price has to go up. That's why we kind of laugh at this COMEX bullshit Ponzi scheme that they're doing. But she's not getting it. She kind of is all over the place. The market Yeah, it's the variables. A low, we talk about it in football all the time. It's the variable. It's they put a tech center in. People are buying it for cash flow. I think she's going to say that. So a lot of the baby boomers bought houses for flows. In other words, I'm going to rent my property out like Bobby almost did. I talked him out of the Airbnb in Tampa. He wanted to do that. He'd lost his ass in it. And that's why you just buy gold and silver. It's the simplest thing. I don't know why people have such a hard time with such a simple concept. Huge demand, low supply. You can't print it. It's cheap. Just buy gold and silver. Well, no, let's do an Airbnb and that can have maintenance and try to get people in. And how are you going to sell the house when you don't get any renters? And that's what you're running into. And when all the economy collapses, what are you going to take? You're going to take money for your rent? Yeah, I don't think so. Anyway, why don't you just get into gold and silver? Why are you in stocks? Why are you in rental properties? You have no idea what you're doing in rental properties, and you certainly have no idea what you're doing in stocks.
Matter of time.
Yeah, it's super interesting. And it sounds like the stressed buyers were the investors, were the speculators, whereas the average person, I mean, it seems like there hasn't been much, shifting of sort of stock or people moving because they locked in low interest rates sort of during the COVID period or just afterwards, and that's why there hasn't been that movement. So they can sort of stick with where they are, but it's the people who speculate, they probably have higher payments, and if they're not profitable, they're the ones who are really feeling the pain. So is that how you're seeing it?
Yeah. For the, and even those low rates, I mean, I think that that's part of it. But what I hear from every like boomer or person who got that low rate was, I wouldn't be able to afford the house I have right now. If I sold, they would wipe out all of their equity gains, which is why the sellers are what we're calling it rage delisting, because they can't get the price that they need, and they need a certain price because they've been banking on that for their retirement. And so
banking on the house. Where did people get into real estate as an investment? It isn't. I don't know where people got into it. And that's what they say. It's like, I'll listen to poker and everybody's a professional poker player. And I would say 99% lose money at it. Oh yeah, you see the one guy win the tournament and win the $1 million. How many people didn't cash in that tournament? 99% of them, right? So that's bullshit too, professional poker players. I play. I would not call me a professional, but I do have the skill set of a professional. But I'm smart enough to know I can lose with my pocket aces. I don't really want to do that professionally. I'd much rather bet football where I have much more control over picking winners than I can in poker. On the river, the 6 of diamonds came and he pulled it straight and I lost, or he got the flush and I lost. It's all luck. Now we don't have luck in baseball, but we can bet Mizorowski and we can bet Burns and we can bet Scanes and win most of the time in a normal situation. So why do people think real estate, like Bobby was saying, well, I'm going to do the Airbnb. Where do you think that's profitable? In what world renting your house is profitable? First of all, there's got to be people wanting to come to your house. I'm going to make money on it. Bullshit. Are you sure the demand for people to want to rent your house is there? It's all these scams, Airbnb scam, all these things. Then you get the resort fees. Okay, you want to kill real estate in Vegas. Let's have resort fees and pay for parking and high food and high drink. Nobody's going to come. There goes your house is now lost value. But why are you fucking around with that? Not only that, the one part she hasn't said is the people, they need to get out of it. The dollar is worthless. They're missing the whole point. This is worth zero. Okay, so even if I make $100,000 in a house and I get this, it's worthless. Understand that you've got to get the fuck out of this. Your goal should be, if you got a house, I would just hold it and I'm waiting to sell it for gold. I do not want cash. What am I going to, okay, so you get 300,000 in cash. What are you going to do with it? Or I'm under I'm underneath. I can't get out of it. I can't afford to sell it. I won't make my profit because that's my retirement. You're going to be broke because the house is worthless in monopoly money. And this is the point everybody just goes and it goes right over their heads. This is not what you want. You need to be in gold and silver. Not only will gold and silver go up 10, 20, 30,000 an ounce, you have no risk in the game. It can't lose. They can't print it and make it worth zero. So what are you worried about? It can only go up, and it goes up in value because it's limited and you can't find it. You got to open up a fucking mind and dig out a bunch, and China's going to grab it before you do anything anyway. So you have no risk in the portfolio. That's what I was trying to say. If you're in gold and you are safe to retire and happy to retire, and you're going to buy an island when you retire. And if your money's in the stock market or in a house as your retirement, as Luke's friend who's got $4 million in the stock market, wait till he wakes up and the stock market crashes, and then he's got nothing because he was too arrogant to buy gold and silver as he should have. Again, you want to buy a house now, you're going to look, it's going to go to zero. Good luck. Now it's how much gold will you get for it? But the end game's the gold. And that's why I'm in an apartment, because I don't want to lose money owning a house. I let my gold go up. I don't have very expensive rent, and I'm relatively safe. And, it's a decent apartment and not the greatest. It's okay. And I'll just wait. And then when the stock market crashes and the housing market crashes and our gold goes up to 20,000 an ounce, I'll give you 2 ounces for your house. What are you going to do? Your money's worthless. And that's what everybody doesn't get and they don't talk about.
So those rates are part of it, but the other part of it is where they're going to go. If it's their primary residence, where are they going to go? And that's why you're actually seeing a lot of the price weakness are in those second home markets, because letting go of a second home is one thing, but a primary home, where am I going to go? You have to make that decision. And when there's nowhere affordable to go, you're going to sit where you are and hope it gets better. Unfortunately.
What an idiot.
Yeah, it's a great point. I guess everyone was hoping that interest rates would come down a bit more, and they've come down a little bit, but now there's that sort of hesitation with everything that's happening in the Middle East and inflation. So that's sort of them putting another spanner in the real estate.
Oh, yeah.
market.
I mean, it was stay alive till 25, extend and pretend, stay alive till 25. I'm calling 26 hit with bricks in 26 because we've got the biggest hard debt maturity wall in commercial real estate that we've ever seen coming in Q3 and Q4. Everybody's been talking about the maturity wall in commercial real estate, like you can go back to 21, 22. But the thing that's different this time is those always had one more extension option. Where now these are properties where there are no extension options left. So Q4 is shaping up to be pretty scary in commercial real estate, and I think we're going to see something, if not scary, but alarming in housing, especially as mortgage delinquencies continue to rise from here.
It takes 90 seconds for this device to cool down your room, and you don't need to spend a fortune. All air conditioners have the same fundamental flaw, and we fixed it. You see, every AC on the market
Especially as mortgage delinquencies continue to rise from here. We're seeing what I call non-seasonal delinquency right now. In the spring, you typically get, everybody gets caught up. They get their tax refunds. And you probably read here in the US, they were, I think, around 11% higher. You get your bonus payouts. But the problem is that's not even enough this spring. And for the first spring, since, that I've seen in quite some time, you're actually seeing delinquency, and it's not just 1 month. It's 3 months in a row now. And
Okay, so what do we get out of that? Delinquency. Who do they owe the money to? The banks. Here go the banks start to collapse. the banks got to get out of their gold. That's why they've been shorting for 2 months our gold going at 4,000, and that's the reason, because the banks are going to collapse. So be careful where you have your money, because you will not get it out, because the banks are going under, because that's how a bank works. I loan you 300,000 for a house, and my business is to collect the interest. Well, all these defaults and delinquencies means the banks aren't going to get their money, and there's no bailout in sight because the dollar is worthless. So a lot of banks are going to go out. This is probably why we see this is probably why you see that gold option at 20,000, the put option at $20,000 in December. So they're probably looking at the housing market crashing third and fourth quarter, makes the banks crash, and everybody runs to gold. We already ran to gold. We're already on, we've seen it coming for years, right? So we're all set. And everybody they're in their house thinking the house is going to give us, that's how we're going to retire with our mortgage, with our house. And the house goes to zero. They can't pay their mortgage. They will go out. And their only option is gold and silver, as I've been saying for the last 6 years. That's your out. That's your only out. It's the only lifeboat, because you can't print the fucking thing. And why do you think China has 80,000 tons? They know. And the U.S. fucking just pissed China off, keep shorting it. And China's like, no, that's it. You're done. And China will take over and do a physical price, as we say, looks like hopefully July 24th. But all these people relying on mortgages for their retirement and houses, where do they get this? Who's the idiot telling them to do that? You guys asked me about mortgages or about real estate, and I said, location, but I'm not going to rely. I didn't go buy anything, especially land. What good is land? Land, unless you build on it, is just a piece of land. Nobody cares. Now, if it's on an ocean, that's one thing. If it's by water, okay. If it's next to a mall, if it's on a golf course, if there's something built on it, but otherwise, real estate does not save your retirement. Who is thinking that, and who is telling these people that? See, they just don't want to understand or believe in gold and silver. Because if they did, that would be the only out. That is your only out. That's it. Only lifeboat, gold and silver. The Titanic sinking. Did you ever hear me say, well, we can buy real estate? That'll get us off the boat safely. No, the only lifeboat is gold and silver, not real estate, not a house. The house depends on the market. The Bobby Bo card, this depends on demand for the card. Besides Bobby Bo and his family, nobody else is going to bid on this card. So let's just say it was a Mantle card. Then your value is based on the demand for the Mantle card. So it's $80,000 for a 1968 PSA 9. Now, but is that going to hold? Well, that's why you buy real limited and really good quality cards, because it makes it more limited, and it would hold in gold. So you might get a 1/4 ounce of gold for Mantle card, but you'll still have value with it. But again, the value comes from somebody wanting it. I show you my Canadian Club bottle, and it goes by, if nobody wants it, it's not worth anything. A lot of people are losing their money. The mortgages they got to come up with, the stocks are going to crash. The whole thing is a Ponzi scheme by the banks, by your Jamie Dimons. Look at them. I was watching Madoff. It's the same thing. Well, I keep making money. And then the one guy keeps screaming, it's a Ponzi scheme. There's no way, Ernie, you can pick everything right in stocks, which is my thing in football. I can't go 100% as much as I think I can. I know I can't. Or baseball. Mizorowski and Skanes, or no, is it Skanes and Wheeler, and we got a 16-run game. It's impossible. So you just don't know, but we know gold. You can't print it. If you can't print it, it's not worth anything. It's worth a fortune because the supply stays low. That's what everybody seems to miss. You listen to Egon, well, it's been there for 5,000 years and it's held its value because you can't print it is why it's held its value. It's limited, and limited things always hold their value. And that's why gas prices will go up, because you're killing the supply, makes it limited. That's why gold and silver will go up, because it's limited. You can't print it. You got to find another mine. Good luck. I'm sure they've mined everything they could mine. And therefore the price goes up because high demand. But in real estate, why would okay, yeah, Malibu, the houses won't go down too much. If you got a view of the ocean and you're on a mountain, okay, probably you'll be okay. Everywhere else, you probably won't be, especially if they're second and third homes. But this is the point that she doesn't get. It's the banks are going to go out. It's third and fourth quarter. So that's the point here. Third and fourth quarter, the banks are going to collapse because people can't afford their mortgage and will default. And the banks are looking for their income from the mortgages, and they're fucked. And the banks aren't smart. Well, some of the banks are buying gold. They see what's happening, mostly the central banks, but a lot of shadow banks. So they are buying gold, and that's why, because they know it's going to crash. If anybody knows, it's the bankers. So if you watch the central banks all buying gold, aka China and Russia and India and the BRICS countries, then that's what you got. And they're going to buy gold. The dollar's gone. The dollar's bankrupt, right? Any way you slice it, it's bankrupt. It's gone. I was listening to Alligator McLeod this morning a little bit, and he was talking, and BRICS, I don't know. And they've already come out with gold-backed currency for China and Russia and all the gold-backed trading, and they trade with Saudi Arabia and Iran for oil. What is he talking about? Well, then he's saying Brazil might leave BRICS. There's no way Brazil's leaving BRICS. Well, the U.S. is trying to fake the election. Well, don't you think Russia and China are going to have a few things to say about it? And even if they do, why would they run out of BRICS and go back into what? Into the dollar? So you think demand for the dollar is going to save the dollar? You're out of your fucking mind. It's not worth anything. You printed it to death. All right, let's see a few more minutes of this girl who is fucking clueless.
It's also important where you're seeing it. Of course, we're seeing it in what I call government subprime, which is FHA, but we are now seeing it in the prime agency books. And that's supposed to be your higher credit quality borrower, which, everybody said it's higher credit quality, but in reality, a lot of that is your credit score was just artificially inflated by, eviction moratoriums, mortgage forbearance, student loans not reporting delinquent. And so, everybody kind of says, well, look, everybody has much higher credit now. Well, but how are they calculating that credit score and what's been removed? They also changed the way they looked at medical debt. So, anybody thinks that we're in a different situation. We're not. You can take, for instance, Fannie Mae debt to income. They report that the debt to income of their levels, and we are now back at 2008. In fact, I think we just went higher.
Debt to income. Do my debt to income. My income is zero. Well, except for my Social Security. Oh, except for when my gold goes up. So I just made 10 grand when it went from 4,000 to 4,100. When it goes to 4,200, I'll make another 10 grand. That's my income, but you're not going to find it anywhere because you don't even know I have gold. So the debt to income. So, all right, enough of this girl. So the gist we got out of it is the homes are falling. There's a housing crash coming third and fourth quarter. It's already started. Don't buy a house until after, and then the prices will be dirt cheap, which is what I tried to tell Luke, is don't buy your house now. But for some reason, he feels he needs to buy it. All right, I want to go through Mark McGuire. I touched it yesterday, but I missed some of the key points. So I want to go back over
His
there.
electrician tested 14 neighbors' homes. Every single smart meter overcharged up to 80% per month. Here's what he did next. If you have a smart meter on the side of your house, You are being charged for electricity.
Gold and silver are deep.
All right. So as he
This
was going,
marked to mark.
as he was going through the graphs, I sped through it because I don't like looking at the graphs. But he did talk about July 24th and a few other key things that I probably want to make sure we hear about. So I'm going to go back over a few minutes of Mark McGuire from yesterday.
Yesterday. While they've succeeded, the damage is done. The paper to physical disruption has exposed the Fed as the only possible instigator and has put the COMEX directly in the PBOC's crosshairs. We're now watching the end game of the Fed's 60-year synthetic gold price suppression mandate and the trigger point, a gold revaluation. This is the opportunity. The approaching paper to physical breakpoint represents a once-in-a-lifetime setup. Liquidity providers assess a minimum 40% physically driven rally into year end. At 100 to 1's leverage, the Fed has thrown the kitchen sink at gold and through leverage deliberately constructed the so-called, and look at this, if you look at this cross here, this is the cross of the 50-day moving average moving through the 200-day moving average. Through leverage, they've deliberately constructed this so-called death cross to suck in the next round of naked short supply. However, into similar constructed bearish sell signals, which would normally offer bears a tailwind of plus or minus 3% downside, every single central bank reads this as a buy event. Now, let's have a look. The last time this happened was on the 27th of September, 2023, to the 6th of October, this move, when gold fell 3.4% from $1,900 to $1,835. That was followed by a golden cross on the 1st of December, which is marked here, and that 1st December 2023, triggering a 5.4% rally from 2035 that topped out literally one session later at 2,144. Then that was followed by an 8% retracement sell-off that bounced exactly off.
So the point was that the Fed's in trouble and that the gold's going to get revalued. Let's go to a different point.
And it would mark the largest monthly official imports ever recorded. The message is clear. Fed officials have reached the limit of how far they can push the short envelopes. Beneath the smoke and mirrors chart, painted action, massive central bank demand is underway. It can't be hidden. Now, this unfactored physical bid drove a series of higher SGE support steps that broke the COMEX cap and wrong-footed officials leaning mechanically into dollar strength. For the first 2 months after the Shanghai Futures Exchange launch, the dollar actually also rallied from 102.30 to 106.21. So they rose in tandem. It broke that correlation. And obviously, at that same time, the mechanical sellers were using dollar strength to sell gold. That blew back. This is the point where we are reaching now. And physical buyers at that time used that dollar strength to tighten supply. In other words, give me more gold for my dollars. And that powered that 40%, $800 rally into year end with no pullbacks until the very end of the year. And that was still an $800 rally. And that's why liquidity providers had assessed current central bank demand, draining the CME LBMA supply, setting up a large short covering rally into the end of this year. This is a tectonic event similar in size to what happened after the Shanghai Futures Exchange wrong-footed so many synthetic players.
All right, Andrew. To answer, I guess, some trader questions, in the very short term here, as we end this holiday shortened week, what do you expect of the markets?
Right, well, we're recording this on Wednesday. You'll be viewing this on Thursday. I mean, we're trying to do it as late as possible so there's not too much of a gap. But into the end of this shortened holiday week, we've got non-farm payrolls. And there's absolutely little doubt that the Fed insiders already have been privy to enough of that data to position themselves for a beat or a miss. Now, it's no joke that these Fed's officials are not prohibited from trading themselves. We've seen instances of them getting caught. It's mind-boggling, really, when you think about it. Now, we're recording this on Wednesday. You're going to know what the print was as this episode is released today. Now, this may offer one last kick at the can, but every liquidity provider has indicated they already have buy orders under the market in case of any dips. So regardless of the print, from a supply-demand perspective, gold and silver are deeply underpriced, and dips will be bought. So while technical traders are emboldened by the death cross, there are very few naked longs left to rinse, and these psyched out dip buyers are absent to rinse. So to gain any traction here, it's going to require fresh, naked short supply, leveraged supply, which is going to be extremely vulnerable into these oversold conditions, and with the PBOC pushing back. However, the PBOC, through the build-out of its global gold pricing and storage corridor, has, through the upcoming launch of the Hong Kong Gateway, already signaled is moving to become the global price setter. So it doesn't leave the COMEX and the LBMA in a position of strength. This initiative also includes the largest LBMA global trading banks who, by no coincidence, they're long gold and silver for their own books, joining this exchange. They were caught napping at the launch of the March 2024 Shanghai Futures Exchange launch. Now they are ready. Every single market-making bullion bank want to be on the right side of a pre-revaluation gold event and realize the PBOC has set the stage for a global gold price revaluation. Physical market.
So that's China wants the price to go up, and we do what if it starts dropping, there's buyers, and China has promised their citizens that they will keep the price at X, whatever that is, 4,500, 5,000. So in other words, to induce the Chinese citizens to buy gold, they said, we'll guarantee the price. China's government, PBOC is People's Republic of China. And so they're saying, look, don't worry, it won't go down, it'll go up. And then Trump keeps hammering it down so the banks can get their bad options because they're a bunch of idiots who shorted the most demanded thing in the world, the gold and silver everybody wants. They're shorting it like a bunch of morons. So they're trying to get out, and that was it. They hit 39.90, and China said, okay, that's enough. Game over. And that's why you see it starting to come back where we got close to 4,200 now, and we'll see 4,500 next week. And we'll see what happens with this July 4th, this revaluation. There's got to be a revaluation. They don't have it. We'll listen to Mark.
Participants know the Fed just stepped on the PBOC's toes at the tail end of what has been a 3-month, 30% rigged sell-off. And initially, deservedly, there was a bunch of short sellers, naked longs, that really ought to have got rinsed out. But then they used that momentum to keep it going and chart paint this death cross. So at the end of this 30% rig sell-off, the Fed and the LBMA market makers have really glimpsed now the PBOC's winning poker hand. The message is blunt. Beijing is clearing the deck to take control of global physical gold price setting mechanism. The first move comes when the first move came really when China instructed their broker banks to raise margins, then to flush out with a distinct target of flushing out all this speculative open interest, ahead of a new series of Western-facing SGE gold pricing and storage hubs being instigated through the Hong Kong Gateway. Now, we flagged this 2 weeks ago after Bloomberg highlighted the Shanghai Gold Exchange 100% physically backed Hong Kong and Singapore gold hub, which is a direct challenge to the LBMA's grip on global bullion trading and price discovery. Bloomberg reinforced the point again this Monday, aligning with our liquidity reports of large-scale 400-ounce bars exports leaving London, and we've tracked this consistently. It's 3 to 5 tons a day leaving. These flows are expected to have reached roughly 2,000 tons. It's just people aren't connecting the dots. While the LBMA is paper diluted, the fixes are T+1 deliverable. That's why sometimes we're seeing a premium come in at the fix, even though they're closing, the speculators are forcing a discount thereafter. These flows are expected to have reached, as I say, 2,000 tons is being conservative. And what it's doing is draining the fractionally held bullion stock that has been long supplied liquidity to the CME Bullion Bank market makers. This is the point many are missing. Some of the LBMA market makers, including JP Morgan, helped run the tail end of the Fed's now underwater 60-year gold price suppression mandate. Yet, on their own books, these same bullion banks are long gold and silver. They're positioning for a forced US Treasury gold price revaluation and preparing to supply physical liquidity into the expanding SGE gold corridor. Zero Hedge also highlighted the surge in Chinese gold imports as Beijing prepares the next leg of planned SGE corridor expansions into Singapore, Africa, and South America. This is on the back of a large global de-dollarization mandate. This is Reuters, I think today. It's just illustrating more central banks are set to shrink dollar holdings. Also noting gold is held by 82% of central banks, and gold has moved to the center of reserve management strategies. The end game is clear. A gold-banked RMB is a direct challenge to dollar reserve dominance. It gives reserve managers a hard asset benchmark against debt-backed dollars, and it creates a credible alternative settlement reference point. Don't forget, RMB, the yuan, is exchangeable one-to-one with gold. The RMB currently carries some obvious other constraints, though. It includes capital controls, so people just say, well, it's just not going to work. But Beijing, they forget that Beijing spent years building the workaround of at least 40,000 tons, if not 45,000 tons of gold that can bridge mainland physical gold with internationalized, collateralizable, high-quality liquid asset gold. And that's why the beta-tested mBridge platform matters. Do you remember we did a lot of work on mBridge some years ago? And China is pushing it towards commercial rollout as a central bank digital currency rail, which is designed to make cross-border payments faster, cheaper, and less dependent on dollar settlement. Now, if you recall, mBridge began as a Hong Kong bank and Thailand initiative. It was a combined initiative. It became mBridge in 2021. We did work on this when the Bank of International Settlements had a finger in the pie, and the central banks of Dubai, China, and the UAE joined in the mBridge platform. But under Fed pressure, the Bank of International Settlements had to step back in 2024. And this is just about the time that the Shanghai Futures Exchange launched. And what they did was hand the project, the Bank of International Settlements handed the project to the partner central bank.
All right, I just want to take a quick second. So why are you in mortgages or in property when the demand for gold is huge. All the central banks are buying gold. Everybody's getting out of the dollar. So there's no demand for the dollar. You're sitting in a house, which is priced in dollars, which will go to zero. Your hope is that it gets priced in gold, and then you will get gold for your house when you sell it. But everybody will be so confused they won't know what it's worth. Gold will go up, I don't know, like I said, 20, 30 times at least. And that's where we're at with it. It's just all these central banks are buying it. They're getting out of dollars. They're getting out of the petrodollar. The U.S. is at war, bankrupting themselves already with the $40 trillion debt. But the wars are very expensive. So, where are you going to get new missiles and new planes and new boats and feed the soldiers and all this shit is expensive. And you're in two wars. You're not only in Ukraine, you're also in Iran. And you want to go, you just went to Venezuela, and that was just, you paid to steal the guy. You didn't do a regime change. And then you've got, you're going to Cuba, like, not a problem. So that's what Mark's saying. And this is July 24th. This is what they're focused on, to take over the physical control. I think he said it, or I don't know if I missed it, but that's what he said. July 24th is the day that they're doing it, which is why I said it in my title yesterday. That goes to physical. COMEX is bye-bye. They're the bye-bye blues, COMEX. They're done. They're doing these shorts, and it's pissing off China. He stepped on their toes, as he said, and China's had enough. And they promised the citizens this amount, and we will see what happens July 24th. I'm expecting a whole lot higher gold price that day as it goes physical, and COMEX blows up, and there's really nothing they can do because you got the gold. You're in. All right, let's see. A few more minutes of Mark. There was the July 24th thing.
that we just mentioned.
What the fuck was
Now,
that?
the platform lets central banks transact directly digital currencies. This is key, cutting foreign exchange settlement times, ready to seconds, and reducing the need for the dollar as an intermediary currency. So bottom line, mBridge is not just payments plumbing, its strategic monetary infrastructure is built to accelerate the digital RMB adoption. It's going to create lower cross-border payment costs. It's going to support China-aligned trade, and it's going to push the global payments system further into a multipolar architecture, which is exactly many, many times we've talked it. London Paul, and many of our guests we've been discussing this with over the years. So inside the 100% physically backed SGE Gold Corridor, this rail can steadily reduce reliance on dollar-based gold settlement while expanding RMB use in China-linked trade. RMB gold-backed use in China-linked trade. And that is the unfactored dollar risk, a credible challenge to dollar-centered settlement that reinforces the long-duration de-dollarization bid for gold and other non-sovereign reserve assets. And as it's internationalized, zero counterparty risk gold-linked settlement gains traction. It's going to gain traction. It's bound to gain traction against what? Debt-riddled first-tier treasury demand? And that's coming under pressure, as we just indicated, and there's lots of reports of that, not just Financial Times. Many of the other reports illustrate this. So the US will actually be forced to defend dollar credibility. Well, how's it going to do that? Now, as we outlined last time, once competitive remonetization between China and the US accelerates, a gold revaluation becomes the cleanest balance sheet response. So a credible gold-backed RMB would really simply going to puncture the dollar's reserve monopoly. I mean, the dollar dominates because it remains the deepest, most liquid settlement asset right now. But July's launch of the PBOC's physically backed Hong Kong gateway starts to change that by giving reserve managers a hard asset benchmark against dollar paper, essentially. So a Chinese gold anchor is simply going to expose the dollar's lack of monetary backing. The US dollar is supported by treasury depth, military power, tax capacity, and the network, but not by convertibility into a tangible reserve asset. A gold-backed RMB would make that contract explicit. And unless the US revalues gold, it will face a reserve confidence problem. So if central banks, commodity exporters, and trade surplus nations begin to diversify into gold-linked RMB instruments, which they will, the marginal bid for US treasuries will weaken. And we're seeing that already, raising funding pressure on Washington. That's clear. They've got to join the party. As it's been for the last 6,000 years, gold will restore itself as the neutral referee between currencies. And once major power credibility links it links its currency architecture together to gold, markets would begin comparing other currencies in gold terms rather than purely through interest rate spreads or bond yields. Back to 6,000, what's been happening for 6,000 years, what the Fed tried to dissolve in 1971. So the US basically will have three really choices. You're going to ignore it, well, it ain't going away, and defend the dollar with higher rates, well, really? That's going to pressure US debt sustainability. Or really, what are they going to do? Revalue gold upwards to strengthen the dollar's balance sheet credibility? May be simpler. So a US gold revaluation would be the cleanest balance sheet response, which is really what we're saying. What it's doing is marking US gold reserves to a far higher price would improve the asset backing of the sovereign balance sheet without requiring immediate austerity or a formal return to the old gold standard. So America would not need to really announce a classical gold standard. Like China, the US could instead move towards a gold liquidity narrative, using gold as a strategic reserve asset and a balance sheet stabilizer, rather than a fixed priced convertibility. Look, what we've seen is this has created a forced revaluation dynamic. So what we're saying is this inevitable gold price reset leads to just one inevitable question. How are you positioned? Are you positioned well ahead of a gold and silver price reset?
Yes, we are. So July 24th, let's have a party. Finally, what we've been waiting for, and it sucks when it's been Ponzi scheme by JP Morgan and the COMEX. COMEX, bye-bye. Here comes China, and they want a physical price, and there's very limited and very high demand. So what we worry about is there going to be demand for gold? And absolutely. And as the dollar goes away in all these wars and the US is bankrupt, how are you going to pay for gold? So everybody here is fucked. They'll be in their houses. See, that's what do they say? The housing values are dropping because there's no demand for it. You're too expensive. Nobody wants $500,000 houses or whatever. So the market with the high interest rates, there's no demand for houses. There's no demand for cars. The banks are getting fucked when they did put out loans so these people could buy it. They're not getting paid back. And then there's an AI scam where AI is much more expensive than people thought. Oh, I'll just get rid of all my employees and have AI do it. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? But now the AI cost is coming in extremely high. They, what Meta said, they've already hit their budget for the year, and we're in June. The AI budget. So AI is costing far more than they thought. It's just another Ponzi scheme. AI. It's the same scam. It doesn't cut costs. It doesn't add any incentive to the revenue. So I'm not selling a bottle of Coke. It's not cutting my costs on the Coke, and I can't raise the price because I got AI. So you're fucked. You just raised your own cost in an economy that you can't. That you got to be cutting your costs. So AI is another Ponzi scheme. Housing going down. Nobody can sell a car. I mean, Toyota, GM, a new car. You have lots of millions of cars that are sitting there that nobody wants. You got a lot of Keynesians running around, fucking up the economy, fucking up everything. And we're just sitting here with gold and silver going, yeah, okay. Oh, going up to 15,000 an ounce. Oh, yeah, that's good. We'll be eating tonight. And we just, it's just sit there and we're going to run into two phases. We're going to run into this phase where it jumps up to 5,000-10,000. And then we're going to run up to the next phase where the dollar's gone. And we've got gold and it's worth 50,000 an ounce, but we can't sell it for dollars. Well, what do? Well, we take our silver and we go to Kroger's, and we take our gold and we buy a house with it. So we won't have this to trade it for. We just use it directly. Oh, here's an ounce of silver. Give me back my change at Kroger's, because nobody will have money. What are they going to do? Oh, we'll use Bitcoin. Yeah, I don't think so. We don't take Bitcoin. How about stablecoin? It's backed by dollars. We're not going to take that either. Digital is not an answer. Please do not get caught into digital. Bitcoin, I saw it like 56,000, 57,000 yesterday. Probably won't. It'll probably slip into the 40s soon. There's no stopping it. It's a Ponzi scheme. If nobody buys it, it goes. But what's going to happen is people start realizing they need to be in gold and silver. They'll dump their Bitcoin and get into gold and silver. And that's what I tell everybody who has Bitcoin. Take your profit and go buy gold and silver. You're getting gold and silver very, very cheap, and your Bitcoins run up. We don't know why it's valued at that. It's just if there's somebody willing to buy it, and nobody is. Michael Saylor just sold a bunch of his Bitcoin. So it's just not there. It's not money. Money is just a trade, right? I'm going to go get a hamburger. I'm going to trade you this for a hamburger. That's all money is. But I can't use Bitcoin or stablecoin as money because I can't trade it for the hamburger. And then people want more money. That's why they get into the stocks, but that's totally manipulated. I'll buy real estate. Yeah, that's not going to work. And that leaves you with gold and silver, which has been manipulated. It's been the fabulous time to buy it now, and you better buy it now before July 24th, because when it hits 10 grand, you're going to go, fuck, I don't have the money. Well, what I say is you can buy 1/10 of an ounce or 1/4 ounce gold, and it's fine. It's only going to cost you $1,200 instead of so let's say we're at 4,400. So 1/10 of an ounce will be 1,100 plus the premium would be like 1,200. But when it hits 10,000, it's worth 2,500. So it's fine. You need to have gold and you need to have silver, more gold than silver, but you need to have it because this has no value. You're fucked if you have this. If you have 1 million of these, you're fucked. Warren Buffett's got 200 billion of it. He's fucked. They're not worth anything. People don't get it. When nobody wants it, it has no value. Everybody's getting out of the dollar. Nobody wants your treasuries. None of the banks want it. They're all dumping to get into gold. China, Japan, everybody. Nobody wants it. France and Germany and I believe Italy is buying as much gold as they can. They're a little late to the party, but that's the one thing. We're not late. We're early to the party. Thank you very much. We'll stay. Well, we like being early to the party. And that's really what you have. So that's the Mark McGuire. July 24th is when PBOC takes over. I don't know what I was watching a Mark McGuire today. I don't know, or an alligator today. I don't know what they're doing. Again, this grocery store in the Bronx, we'll give everything for free. 39 grocery stores have moved out. That means there's a lot of jobs that have been lost because you got to employ people. And then there's the sub jobs. Oh, my accountant, my IT people, they got laid off because I don't have the grocery store anymore because we can't compete with free. But then I wonder how it's going to be. How are you going to hire anybody? And is it going to look like Kroger's where you have all the sections and you have the fruit and the veggies and they're on the fruit section and the veggie section and the canned tuna and the pop aisle and everything? Who are you going to hire? And what are you going to pay them? You're giving the food away for free because you're a socialist. You're a fucking idiot. So then what happens? It's probably nobody's going to care. They'll probably just dump it in the middle of the floor, and people will rifle through. Oh, there's the strawberries. Give me those, Joey. And that's what's going to happen. So it'll be a flop. It won't work. You have to have incentive of profit. I buy my Coke for $2 and I sell it for $3, or my Pop-Tarts or my Oreos or my apples or my avocados. You buy it and then you sell it for more. And if you take that off the equation, which is what this grocery store is doing, you're fucked. Because you're not going to get you're not going to get any food to put in the grocery store. Don't you understand that, idiots? And this is costing $30 million when normally it costs $3-4 million for the grocery store. Who do you think's pocketing all the money? The socialist mayor, he's figured it out. Oh, I get to be corrupt because I'm a socialist or I'm a communist. The government controls things, doesn't work. The market has to control it. As soon as you get off of that, you're fucked. New York's fucked. And then their housing is going to be fucked and everybody's going to move out. So I don't know what alligator. So I was watching this alligator one. I don't know what he's talking about. He starts talking about Brazil leaving BRICS, and because there's an election coming up and the U.S. will try to put in the other guy. Well, what do you think Russia and China are going to do? They're not going to let that happen. And Brazil wants to be in BRICS because they're backed by gold and they're already trading with China and Russia. So I don't buy that. I don't know what he's smoking, Alistair. But this is where he's like two-faced. He does the one thing and he sounds okay. And then he does shit like this. And you're like, what the fuck is he talking about? Here's one, the society that worships idiots. Idiots are people that are confident but wrong. They don't know what they're talking about, so they can say anything and say it with confidence. And the problem is, which I warn you, is to believe them. You cannot believe Peter Schiff. You can't believe the other guy, Reichert. You can't believe Rick Rude. You can't believe Andy Schectman. They sound confident, but they don't know what they're talking about. Lynette Zhang, she doesn't know what she's talking about. She's a stockbroker. So they look at it in terms of a stockbroker. I look at it as in terms of an Austrian economist, understanding Adam Smith and the markets and economics. And I understand that like I understand football. Even baseball, I'm coming up with new ways to analyze it. But I figure it out. I problem solve it. These guys don't. Jim Reichert has no fucking idea what he's talking about. You can print as much money as you want. Oh, really? You problem solve this, and you know if you just keep printing the money, it won't lose value? Really? You're an idiot. And this is the problem. But people listen to the idiots because he comes across like he knows what he's talking about. Warren Buffett, all these idiots, they don't know what gold's just a paperweight. You're a fucking idiot. Gold's not a paperweight. Gold's been money for 6,000 years. You can't print it. Why is it a paperweight? Just because the government doesn't want to compete with it because it can't. But you listen to, oh, it's Warren Buffett. I got to listen to him because, but he comes across like he knows what he's talking about. This Saylor guy, this Larry Fink guy. Fucking, I hear him, I run the other way. I don't want to listen to him. It's bad news. And so when I'm at the level where I can understand they're full of shit. A lot of other people can't. And they go, oh, it's Ray Dalio. Oh, or it's Robert Sayakowski, who's a fucking scammer, who's Madoff. And they don't know what they're talking about, but they sound like they do. Those are the idiots. And you listen to them, and then you start, oh, I'm going to get into real estate because Joe Schmo said to get into real estate. And this is the problem. I should get into the stock market because I can never lose. You always win in the stock market because it's not controlled by anybody. And this is the problem. And that's why people listen to idiots, because I will come out like an idiot will say, I can pick 100% football. But he doesn't know what he's talking about because it's impossible to pick 100. But I'll come out and say, well, I can go about 75%. And like Skanes and Mizorowski, you think they're going to win, but because I got it down to a science and I know what should happen, but it doesn't always happen. So I'm going to talk a little less confident because I know it's impossible. I can't say I'm going to go 100%, but the scammers, these idiots will, and people will believe them. And knowing what I know you can't. Because you just can't, Koufax didn't go 50-0. Gibson didn't strike 27 batters out and go 28-0. That just doesn't happen. And so but the guy who doesn't, who says that kind of puts in doubt. Well, we're going to bet Skanes. I think he'll win because we know he's not going to win every game, but we understand that. But we come across as, oh, well, he's not really confident. I'm not going to vote for him. I'm going to vote for, Peter Schiff because he comes across confident, even though he's wrong. Or Andy Schectman. He talks a lot, but he doesn't say anything. And this is the problem. They don't know. So they come across confident because they're salesmen, because they're stockbrokers. So they know how to talk, but they're wrong. But they don't want to say. So they'll come across confident and you'll go, wow, I'm going to listen to this guy. I'm going to go buy real estate because mortgages never go down. A house value never goes down, right? Wait a minute, it's going down. Wait. Reichert's told me it never goes down. And he was confident when he said it. Oops, he lied. Oops, he's an idiot. Oops, I got fucked. Because you listen to those guys. That's why you got to be careful. I always tell you, you're free to listen to who you want. Just make sure you know what you're listening to, and be careful about who you're listening to. Especially you guys who bet football and you get other handicappers. And they gave me Cincinnati, and I'm like, I didn't give Cincinnati today. I always do that. Some guys will bet this other game, and I'm like, I didn't give you that game. What are you talking about? Oh, I'm listening to Joe Blow. So they got 3 or 4 handicappers, and you're like, you're an idiot. I got it down to a science, but I'm not going to go. But I do give you actual. I'm about 70-75% in my picks on teasers, and that's fact. And I put the history up, but nobody believes it. But the other guy who says, oh, I pick all the winners, and he won't give you his wins and losses, and he won't give you a percentage, that's the guy you go with because he's always right, except for when he's wrong. And so just be careful with that. Don't listen to the idiots. They should be able to back up everything I say because I'm not an idiot. I know what I'm talking about, not in everything, but what I talk about. I know, even in health, I'm quoting the doctor, Sven, or the lady. I'm not the doctor. I'm quoting the doctors. That's why you don't hear me do a lot of IT stuff, because I can't. I'm not going there. I don't know it, and I'm not going to pretend I know it. So keep that in mind. So happy 4th of July. Again, Washington's your free play, 3 units. Let's check out gold and silver. We were on an uptick, let's see. 41.75 and 62.39. This will be back into the 80s shortly. And then this, at least it's holding. I don't know why it says the market close. What holiday is it today? July 3rd. I know Canada Day, but that's July 1st, I think. We're the only ones with 4th of July. I'm sure UK's not celebrating that because it's our victory over the UK. 41.75. And I don't know if the market's closed. Maybe because it's the holiday weekend. Maybe it's closing early, but we'll take 41.75, 62.39. So just now's the time to buy your gold. If you haven't, you should have already bought it. Silver at 62 is a joke. Silver's $1,000 an ounce. That I will tell you. And you're at 62.39. You should be buying as much as you can. Wait, the housing market's crashing. 3rd and 4th quarter, it'll be gone. It'll be 2008 all over again. Banks will be collapsing because they depend on the revenue from the mortgages, which they won't get. So not only is the housing market crashing, the stock market's crashing, and the banks are going to be crashing. So be careful with too much money in your bank. Get out of safety deposit boxes in a bank. Go find a safe somewhere and, put it somewhere safe. Put it in your backyard, whatever you want to do with it. Do not put your gold and silver in a safety deposit box at a bank. They'll close and you won't be able to get it out. And you don't want to lose it that way. Anyway, so happy 4th of July. I should be on tomorrow. The pool does close early because it's a holiday. So it closes at 1:30. So I'll probably leave here by 11:30. So I might, if I get up early enough, I'll do class, like an hour class, from like 9:30 to 10:30 or something like that. And that's about it. So I will do that. Sunday, I think I'm going to go up to the outlet mall. So pool closes at 4:30. So I think I'll do class early, run to the pool, and then go up to the outlet mall. I think it's open till 7 o'clock. Saturday, it's only open till 5. Sunday will be open to 7, so I'll have more time. So I think I'll go up Sunday. And the sale goes all weekend, so I'll take advantage of that. I don't need much, so I don't know. If I really see something I like, I'll buy. If I don't, I have a nice ride up there, and I'll have a nice lunch and go from there. And that's it. So have a wonderful day. I haven't heard from Daria. The war, they cut off the VPNs and they cut off the Telegram and the WhatsApp. So she can't text me. I do text her and she does read them. Let's see. She was on yesterday. She was on at 12:36. Okay. So I sent her, I thought I did my picture. I thought I took my picture this morning. Anyway. So she was on yesterday afternoon. She wasn't on at all, and now she just got on at 12:30. She sees my text. She does read them, but sometimes she can't respond because Russia's turned off that. So that war is just going to keep going on until they all go broke. Europe has no money. The U.S. is bankrupt. They're all bankrupt. The euro's bankrupt. The dollar's bankrupt. Canada is, and so is British. And all of Africa is going gold back, which even makes the price go up 20 times more because it adds to demand. You can't create supply. It's what's been mined. Now, there is mines in Africa that France and the U.S. was stealing from, but not anymore. So, but that's already counted on. That's not new gold, but they do mine it. And, if they find that, 1 ton's 32,000 ounces. So when he was saying they did 5 tons or 15 tons, that's 32,000 ounces a ton. It's a lot, but usually it's the big bars, and they're like 400 ounce. So that'd be 8 bars would be, it'd be 80 bars would be 1 ton. That'd be 32,000 ounces. So 80 bars, not bad. So have a great day, everybody. Have a great 4th of July. Good luck on the baseball if you're betting Washington. I am in the middle of college football. I've done all the quarterbacks, and now I'm working on the coaches, and then I will get into the conferences and looking to grade the teams and who's good and bad and ugly and go from there. Again, August 29th is the first week of college. Pros start the week after, early September. And I won't change my prices for Teaser King. $100 for the week. You get all the pros and the college and the locks. $750 for the year, and I think it's $200 for the month. If you want a month, you can $200. Otherwise, it's $100 a week. So but again, that's for pro and college. $750 is all the pro and college games for the whole year. Most people buy that because it's like $40 a week, and you go from there. Anyway, that's about it. So have a good 4th, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Good luck, and let me know if you have any questions or comments. www.teaserking.com.